The Sunday morning takedown. How one folder exposed a senator. Picture this. It's a quiet Sunday morning. Most people are making coffee, scrolling their phones. But in a TV studio in Austin, Texas, something extraordinary is about to happen that will shake Washington to its core. J.D. Vance sits across from Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett on Face the People. He's confident, almost smug, his navy tie slightly off-center because he doesn't care. He's used to getting the last word. Jasmine sits calmly in her rust-colored blazer, listening as Vance dismisses campaign finance reform as overhyped noise push by left-wing bloggers. The anchor chuckles politely. Vance smiles to himself. But Jasmine doesn't laugh. She doesn't even blink. When the camera turns to her, she does something no one expects. She reaches into her leather bag and pulls out a slim folder. No theatrics, no smugness, just quiet purpose. Before we go any further, she says evenly, I think it's important viewers see what we're actually talking about. What happens next will become one of the most viral political moments of the year. The documents that changed everything. Jasmine opens a folder, revealing printed documents marked with yellow highlighter and handwritten notes. She holds up the first page, an FEC filing dated February 3rd showing a $50,000 donation to a super PAC supporting Vance's policy initiative. The donor? A subsidiary of a defense contractor currently under federal investigation. Vance's grin falters. That's a public record. He waves it off. But it's got nothing to do with. I'm not finished. Jasmine cuts him off. She flips to the next page. March. Same group, same pattern. Then a third sheet, a leaked email from a lobbyist thanking Vance's office for following through just hours after bill was introduced. The studio goes dead quiet. You're quoting hearsay. Vance snaps. No, I'm quoting you, she replies calmly. It's your aide's email. Same signature. I had it authenticated last week. Behind the cameras, the live fact-checker team is scrambling. Screens light up. Technicians lean in. Within seconds, they confirm it. The documents are real. But Jasmine isn't done. She places another sheet flat on the table, an internal memo dated April 7th, 2 days before Vance's controversial amendment to an infrastructure bill. The memo is from Treadford Energy, a natural gas giant, referencing a scheduled call with Vance's office and anticipating positive movement on pipeline permits. And you're saying this company made donations around that time? The anchor asks. Not one. 3, Jasmine answers, tapping the pages like poker cards. All split between the senator's affiliated committees, each just under the individual reporting threshold. One on the 8th, one on the 11th, one the day after the bill passed committee. The man behind the curtain. But how did Jasmine get these documents? The answer lies with Patrick Healy, a quiet, efficient lobbyist who wore brown shoes that were always clean and jackets that never quite fit right. Patrick had worked behind the scenes for nearly 2 years, coordinating between lawmakers and industry partners. He didn't talk much at staff mixers, didn't show up in holiday photos, but he was always there, watching. Then one day, everything changed. Patrick's younger sister Kara, a nurse in rural Alabama, called him in tears. Her hospital was shutting down after a policy change gutted federal funding for low-volume medical centers, a policy Vance had voted on without fanfare. That night, Patrick stared at one of the memos he'd helped circulate about rationalizing rural health expenditures. He realized he had helped write the very policy that cost his sister her job. For the first time in his life, Patrick felt sick about the work he was doing. He started copying files. Not for revenge, not for money, but because he couldn't plug his ears anymore. The perfect storm. Back in the studio, the tension is palpable. Vance is sweating now, his confident demeanor cracking. Let's be honest, this is nothing but a stunt, he says, voice rising. Congresswoman Crockett wants to be famous, and she thinks using my name will make her a star. Call it lies. Then Jasmine responds calmly. I just did. She tilts her head. Good, because slander laws go both ways, Senator. Then the anchor's earpiece crackles. I'm being told we just received an audio recording that confirms part of the timeline Congresswoman Crockett shared earlier. It's a voicemail from a Treadford Energy executive thanking a legislative aide for walking the senator through the finer points of the revised amendment. Vance freezes. You're running with gossip now. This isn't journalism. It's a hit piece. You said this was all out of context, Jasmine replies. The context just arrived. The viral moment. What happens next transforms from a political debate into something much more powerful, accountability in real time. The network launches a live viewer poll. Do you believe the document presented by Congresswoman Crockett are credible? Within 3 minutes, 68% of viewers click yes. The numbers roll on screen right under Vance's face. On social media, #VanceExposed starts trending. A 17-year-old in Fresno posts a TikTok edit with dramatic music that hits 1 million views in under an hour. Cable networks begin rolling highlights. Even late-night comedians struggle to find jokes. This isn't comedy, it's justice. But the real impact happens offline. Within 48 hours, major donors pull funding from Vance's re-election campaign. Editorial boards across Ohio question whether he can continue representing his constituents. Poll numbers drop. The ripple effect. Behind closed doors, the fallout is swift. Staffers jump ship from Vance's office. One longtime aide resigns with a single-line letter, "I no longer trust the mission." Meanwhile, Jasmine's team works around the clock, organizing files into clean timelines, meeting with attorneys, preparing for what comes next. This isn't about trending. It's about holding politicians accountable. The Senate Ethics Committee officially opens a preliminary review. Anonymous sources step forward. What started as one folder on a Sunday morning becomes a formal investigation into systematic corruption. The human cost. But perhaps the most powerful part of the story isn't the political fallout. It's a human response. Jasmine receives dozens of letters from ordinary Americans. A former coal miner in West Virginia writes, "Thank you for speaking like one of us." A teenager from California writes, "I didn't think anyone in government was brave. Now I'm rethinking things." A woman from Georgia sends no note, just a newspaper clipping of Jasmine's face and a small sunflower pin. A quiet message of encouragement. The bigger picture. 2 weeks after the broadcast, as Jasmine sits in her office reading these letters, she reflects on what really happened that Sunday morning. She didn't set out to be a symbol or fighter. She simply did her job, respecting the people who trusted her to represent them. But the story doesn't end there. The second whistleblower reaches out again, this time with evidence that the corruption goes beyond just Vance. Screenshots, recorded calls, confirmed language copied from lobbying firms, and reused across multiple bills, multiple senators. Jasmine realizes she's uncovered something much bigger than one corrupt politician. She's exposed a system, a precise, predictable cycle of influence that's been hiding in plain sight. The choice. As she sits with this new evidence, Jasmine faces a choice. She could release it immediately, create another viral moment, watch another career burn. Or she could take the harder path, the slow, careful one that builds lasting change instead of just headlines. She chooses accountability over virality, due process over destruction, truth over theatrics. Because as Jasmine learned that Sunday morning, once you show the public what the cracks look like, you have a responsibility to help fix a foundation. The folder that started it all sits on her desk, creased at the edges now, a reminder that sometimes the most powerful weapon against corruption isn't a tweet or a soundbite. It's simply the truth, spoken plainly, backed by evidence, delivered without fear. And sometimes that's enough to change everything.